Oh, good. Hey there, folks. Welcome to the show again. Now, one thing did remind me. I was, going through watching YouTube and going through some of the channels until I found something that got my attention. Did you know that they're doing a sci-fi comedy series, and it's a spoof? It is a spoof to Star Trek. I'm not kidding. Somebody decided to do a comedy spoof of Star Trek, and the spoof is called Orville. Now, it got my interest until I finally figured out it's created and starred by Seth MacFarlane. Now, I'm not going against Seth MacFarlane. He's really creative. And for those of you who don't know who Seth MacFarlane is, he's the one who created American Dad. He made American Dad. He made Family Guy. He made The Cleveland Show. He also made the movie Ted 1 and 2. And he also made that movie 1,000 Ways to Die in the Old West with Charlize Theron. Very sexy, Charlize Theron. And I didn't know she was from South Africa. Did you? And how it goes, Seth MacFarlane is playing... He's supposed to be a captain to his own ship called the Orville. And of course, him and his crew team are now going through their adventures. And sometimes he acts a little cocky and stupid. And much to his surprise, his first officer turns out to be his ex-wife. And they both argued exactly how the argument would go between ex-husband and wives. So, that would be very hilarious. And they also have a robot and a few aliens in their team. So, this is Orville. And I know some of you are going to be thinking, am I going to be watching this or not? I will check the show out, but if it's going to turn out to be more like Family Guy or any other movies he made, I'll probably stop. Because that's one thing I notice about Seth MacFarlane. I mean, if I had a choice, I'd rather watch South Park than Family Guy. Because the biggest difference between Family Guy and South Park, Family Guy is created by Seth MacFarlane, and one thing I know about him, he's a bleeding heart liberal and an atheist. That's why he makes all these awkward, disturbing jokes. It just doesn't make you want to laugh, it just makes you want to go, did he say that? Is that right? And I know South Park has the same level, but here's one thing I know. The creators, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, one thing I know about them, they're conservative. So they talk down to celebrities who are liberals. And one thing, and of course when it comes to their religion, Matt Stone is Jewish, and Trey Parker, he's a Mormon. That explains why they made that Broadway musical called The Book of Mormon. So that's why I'm more comfortable watching South Park than I do with Family Guy. So I don't know if Seth MacFarlane is going to be doing his thing, or just going to be casual funny on the show. Because I've seen Ted, and some of the scenes in that movie does get a little awkward. And besides, how could a normal average woman start finding Ted attractive? He's just a teddy bear. That's Seth MacFarlane for you. But enough about Orville. Let's talk about the movie I'm going to review for you today. It makes me think of Orville. And this is a very funny sci-fi movie, and it is a spoof to Star Trek. More like a spoof, it's more like I mean, it was created for Star Trek fans, like yours truly. And the movie is called Galaxy Quest. Now, Galaxy Quest is not like any other sci-fi comedy movie. What it is about, it's like what if? What if, William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and, the actress who played Uhura, and George Takei, and everybody who is on the show Star Trek, what if a group of aliens met William Shatner and the rest of the cast from the original show and brought them into a real-life sci-fi situation with a real evil alien? And this is exactly what it's all about in this one. Starring Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, and Sam Rockwell is in it, among other casts. And sorry for the rumbling sound. Look like it's going to storm a bit. We've been through the rain and lightning, but I think it's going to die down a bit. Anyway, back to the movie. It turns out that Tim Allen, he's a has-been actor who, he's more of a show-off. He always acts like he's a big shot because he plays a captain in a TV show. He plays a big captain like he's a big shot. He plays a captain of the TV show, even though the rest of the cast don't like him, including Alan Rickman. And the problem with Alan Rickman. But the problem with Alan Rickman is that he hates his character, and he hates that line that his character says. He always says, "By Grunthog's hammer." Kind of makes me wonder, did Leonard Nimoy felt the same way? Did he ever hated doing this and say, "Live long and prosper"? But as for Sigourney Weaver, she played a character that she's okay with, even though she didn't have much of a line. The only comment that she got from the fans is their breasts and how they fit in her suit. And also, and not knowing what kind of character she is, she's a computer communicator. She talks to the computer. She's the only person who can do that. And sometimes she has a habit of repeating what the computer says. If you have a character like that, it gets really annoying. And the funny thing is, you got Sam Rockwell, who is in the movie. What he is, that he was a former actor. He was in the show Galaxy Quest, but he played one of the officers who gets killed. So pretty much he's more like one of those red shirt guys who gets killed on the show. On Star Trek, there's always a red shirt officer who gets killed, and on every episode there's another one who comes back. I always put that in the show, Your main characters won't die, but one of the red shirts will. Because you don't know about him, you don't know his background, and he gets killed. Gives it a good reason. And then all of a sudden, you get a group of these kind of Vulcan-like aliens, except they don't have pointy ears, but they have the hair. And they started out, they're squid-looking aliens, but now they have these devices that make them look more human, and they always smile. This is what they look like right here. And Mathazar, the one in the middle, he's their leader. He's the one who's trying to gather them up, because here's the problem. These aliens, they think their TV show is historical documents. They think it's all real. Remember when Sigourney Weaver tried to explain to them about Gilligan's Island? She said, "You don't think that Gilligan's Island was..." And Mathazar said, "Those poor, poor people in that island." I would have felt the same way like Alan Rickman did. Oh, brother. Hey, I mean, even though I watch TV shows, I can tell a difference between fact and fiction. I don't think Star Trek is real. But the problem is that Tim Allen, at first he heard over a bunch of fans who talked down about him and how he treats his crew. So now he's really down about it. And there was a group of fans who decided to ask him some questions about the show. And he said, "There is no gay darn ship. There is nothing. It's all fake." That kind of reminds you on Saturday Night Live when there's a Star Trek convention and William Shatner says this, "Get a life." But this kid, he's really smart. He's a die-hard fan of the show, and he knows a lot more about the ships, him and his friend does, than the cast does. And of course, it kind of shows that Tim Allen, even though him and Sigourney Weaver was in the show, one of the fans kind of thought that they both had a thing going, but it was nothing. Even though Tim Allen does have a crush on her, the problem was he was just too egotistical to give him a chance to tell her how he really feels. So now the aliens finally picked up Tim Allen, and he met with the bad guy named Saris, who is killing all these innocent aliens. These good guys here. So, Tim Allen, he thought he was doing a cameo from some other sci-fi show, telling one of the crew what to do and all that, without even paying attention. Ugh. And now they want him back and discovered it was all real. And then he tried to tell his friends, but they thought it was another job. So they went after him until they finally discovered, in their surprise, it's all real. And Sigourney Weaver's trying to tell him they're actors, not real space heroes. Until Saris himself, he's an a-hole, and he is like a typical sci-fi alien bad guy. Judgmental, short-tempered, and he loves to torture innocent beings. So he's just really bad. And what he wants from Tim Allen is what the Omega-13 is. Now, for those of you who wants to know what it is, only the kids knew. Some people thought it was a bomb. It only goes off about 13 seconds. But actually, it's actually a time portal. It will let you go back in time for 13 seconds. Wouldn't give you enough time to go back in time, but enough time to repair one certain mistake. So now, Tim Allen and his crew are now finally decided to act more like their characters and try to battle against Saren and his bad guys, and trying to help these aliens. And here's the shocker here: the actor who's in this show, who plays who's supposed to be playing the ship engineer, kind of like the Scotty version of this character. He's the same actor who plays Monk. I don't know his name, so. But he falls in love with that female alien over here. And there's a lot of reference and a lot of spoofs to every Star Trek show. So I gotta say, this movie is really, really funny, and it was very, very good. Oh, and one thing about Sam Rockwell. At first, he was acting all like a coward, thinking he's not gonna do this, because he knows that he's gonna die, just like his character did in the show. Until the guy from Monk told him he figured out what his character is. He told him that he's a plucky comic relief. Oh, and the black guy in the show? It turns out he was a former child star who plays a little kid who controls the ship. He's a young kid who knows how to control the ship. And always says, pedal to the metal, Commander. And now he's all grown up, and he's getting very rusty. And I gotta say, for those of you who wants to see this kind of spoof, watch this movie. It is really hilarious. And of course, one thing it did make me think of the first time I knew about this movie. Seriously, Tim Allen, the guy who does the voice of Buzz Lightyear on Toy Story, and now he has a chance to play an actor playing a space hero. And Sigourney Weaver from those Alien movies? Oh yeah, and for those of you who's going to be asking me, am I going to be watching this new Alien movie called The Alien Covenant? No, I'm not that interested. I just don't really care much on alien horror movies. I mean, sci-fi horror movies. I prefer sci-fi comedies and sci-fi action-adventure. No horror. Sorry. But one thing that's really surprising to me, to have Sigourney Weaver, the actress who plays Ellen Ripley in these Alien movies, now playing this show as a blonde actress who played sort of a dumb blonde, but is a ship's communicator on the show. That's different. And one thing is really special about in this movie, there's a lot of extras in it. You can even watch this movie in these alien languages. Although you're just hearing a lot of... Don't ask me, I don't know what I'm saying. And you know, rumor has it that they were planning to make this movie make a sequel to it. They were planning to make a sequel, but sadly Alan Rickman passed away. Passed away after they were done with their Harry Potter movies. Yeah, the same Alan Rickman who played Professor Snape. He passed away after they were done with their last Harry Potter. But they were planning to do a sequel, but it didn't catch on. I mean, Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, and Sam Rockwell were in on doing the sequel, but sadly, it didn't pass. But one thing they did do, they made Galaxy Quest so popular, they decided to make a comic book series. So you can go to your local comic book store and you can get yourself a collection of Galaxy Quest Journey Continues. And you can see how they pick up where the movie left off. And see Tim Allen showing off again. So, check out Galaxy Quest, it might be awesome. While in the meantime, I'll try to watch Orville, but if it gets too much for me to handle, I'm gonna stop. So for those of you who like this Galaxy Quest review, please leave a comment down below, hit like, subscribe, and see you later.